Welcome to Once Upon a Coin, documenting the ongoing history of blockchain and cryptocurrency. And as always, I'm your storyteller, Jason Cassidy. Today's story is a magical one, and something that you were definitely privileged to have lived through and experienced. It's a story of perseverance, vindication, and a whole lot of cool stuff all bound together in a cryptographic wrapper. This is a story of crypto in 2017.
Sun cast a shadow, a digital line is coming over the mountain and over your mind. Double down your Bitcoin, hang on for the ride. We're moving into the future, one block at a time. We're moving into the future, one block at a time.
In the previous episode in our review of cryptocurrency and blockchain over the years, the industry was in a pretty bad spot. 2016 saw the extension of a brutal bear market. The Dow badly blew up and pretty much changed the fate of Ethereum forever, while Bitcoin saw itself engulfed in the next installment of the Satoshi Nakamoto identity drama. It's a heck of an episode, and I highly encourage you check it out before you go too deep down into the 2017 rabbit hole with me here. But mostly, it was Bitcoin that hurt the most, having toiled away down in the $100 to $200 USD range for seemingly forever. And while it wasn't exactly forever, by the time that 2016 had made its presence felt, it meant that cryptonauts had now suffered through a nasty 3-year-long crypto winter. But near the end of the year, Bitcoin began to show signs of life, breaking out and getting into the $900 USD range as December came to a close. And of course, now everyone's wondering, what would 2017 bring? Well, you're about to find out. It all started with a measure of good news, something the industry could desperately use by now. The price of Bitcoin hit the $1,000 per coin mark right at the beginning of January, and this was significant because it had not seen that price level previously for over 1,000 consecutive days. What came next was a rapid-fire succession of historically relevant developments mixed in with some bull market euphoria. We've actually reached the point in crypto's history where so much stuff is happening on a daily and weekly basis that to fully document everything that was happening in 2017 from here on out would take days, not hours. So let's take a look at some of the most important events, because what was about to take place in the blockchain world would impact it in ways that no one was prepared for. In February, the Ethereum Enterprise Alliance was launched, boasting some pretty big founding members such as JPMorgan, Microsoft, and Intel. Despite the setback caused by the Dow's implosion a year prior, Ethereum was still making big moves. And if you were paying close attention around this time, then you notice that acts like the formation of the Enterprise Alliance were one of the catalysts to help propel Ethereum into the number 2 spot behind Bitcoin. To show how widely successful this initiative was in getting enterprise-level players involved and thus invested into Ethereum, just 6 months after the formation of the Alliance, it had grown to boast over 150 members. Wow! As big as this news was for Ethereum, something much bigger was about to happen for them. Something that would help cement their status as one of the true legendary blockchain networks. But before Ethereum could take the spotlight fully, it first had to share it with Bitcoin for a little while, because in March, news came out that Bitcoin was having a little bit of trouble when it came to ETFs or exchange-traded funds. They were being denied en masse by the SEC or Securities Exchange Commission. The Winklevoss twins were the most noteworthy of all the applicants that were denied in 2017 around getting a Bitcoin ETF off the ground. However, this desire to have investment funds for Bitcoin would not simply go away, with several more attempts to get it off the ground in the US taking place in the years that followed. The SEC's denial of the ETFs were based upon their view that most of the cryptocurrency industry was still unregulated. And then from their perspective, it just made no sense to usher in a formal investment vehicle given the current climate. Basically, the industry was just going to have to mature a lot more before this type of offering was going to be green-lighted. On April 1st, something that was most definitely not an April Fool's joke took place, but I'm sure at least a few people thought it was. The Japanese government formally recognized Bitcoin as a legal payment method by codifying it in law. This was yet another important step towards legitimacy for the nascent cryptocurrency. As soon as the calendar had flipped over to May, things started to change. Bitcoin began to move up very fast at a rate of several $100s US per day, and it ended the month at over $2,000 a coin. This was a setup for what would soon become the next great bull market in crypto. The month of June helped propel the market in this direction as it saw a lot of new projects introduce themselves via crowd sales. One such example of this was EOS, who conducted an ICO, or initial coin offering. EOS had a unique take on the traditional ICO model, and instead decided to run theirs for almost a full calendar year, concluding it on June 1st, 2018. The sale was incredibly successful, and the project raised a total of $4.1 billion US. Yeah, that's just nuts to me, and I'm used to big numbers in crypto. As big as the EOS ICO was, it was just one of many top projects that were debuting around this time using the ICO model. Most of these big projects were making use of the ERC20 token standard and debuting their currencies on Ethereum. Projects like Bancor, 10x, and Brave all chose to build on Ethereum and ICO their tokens there, pulling in some huge numbers in the process. 10x raised $80 million US in just 7 minutes, while Bancor amassed a war chest of $153 million US from investors who were all too eager to get their hands on the hottest new token on the block. While the ICOs just kept coming fast and furious throughout the summer, in July it was actually an exchange that made big news. And this wasn't just some shitcoin exchange either. No. This was an exchange that would go on to become the king of crypto just a few short years later. Enter Binance. On July 14th, Binance officially opened their virtual doors to customers around the world and invited them all to buy and sell crypto to their heart's content. It was a successful introduction into the industry for the young exchange, and in the coming years, Binance would go on to grow its reach and influence until it could be felt in nearly every corner of the blockchain. Before the summer was over though, a disturbance in the force could be felt by everyone who was paying attention to Bitcoin. The block size debate had evolved over the years, starting out as a practice and intellectual banter with the goal of making Bitcoin the very best it could be. But with so much money at stake around the direction that Bitcoin was going to be taking, political motivations along with personal ones tend to get involved. Bitcoin was no longer just a hobbyist curiosity like it started out as. It was now truly looking like the future of finance. It also meant that some big existing financial players like Western Union, PayPal, and even banks had to start taking cryptocurrency more seriously now as a potentially disruptive force in the not so distant future. All of these realities eventually came together to create a movement that pushed the block size debate into full-out block size war. Half of the community within Bitcoin firmly believed that small blocks were the better path to take long term. The other half of the community felt that Satoshi's vision for Bitcoin as laid out in the white paper should be followed loyally, being treated like an owner's manual in some cases. They felt that since following the white paper so far had worked exactly as Satoshi said it would, then the choice was clear. They wanted to allow the block size to grow in lockstep with the demand for block space, with more transactions on Bitcoin bringing more prosperity. With no resolution in sight and both camps now firmly digging their heels in, the blockchain engaged in the only way it knows how to resolve such a stalemate. On August 1st, Bitcoin experienced a contentious hard fork, essentially creating a new copy of itself. There were now two versions of Bitcoin. One version would maintain the small blocks and would also retain the BTC ticker symbol. The other version, which would have bigger blocks and would more closely follow Satoshi's white paper of Bitcoin being peer-to-peer electronic cash, was called Bitcoin Cash, and its ticker symbol became BCH. Which camp got which Bitcoin name and ticker symbol became more of a political process than it was a technical or even legal one. Both the miners and the exchanges played a huge role in both versions of Bitcoin surviving the fork and having a future while competing against each other. Some of the notable figures behind this blowup were Adam Back, who represented the BTC side, and Roger Ver, who represented the Bitcoin Cash side. All of this drama had no impact on the upward trajectory of Bitcoin BTC though, as it finished the month of August trading in the $4,500 US range. Before the month was over though, another entrant into the blockchain space showed up and made a little bit of noise. On August 30th, Tron, a blockchain network headed up by Justin Sun, conducted its ICO over the course of several days and was able to raise an impressive $70 million US. Just a month later, and the industry got more good news with the formalization of the ERC20 token standard on Ethereum, which took place on September 11th. ICO Mania was already well underway by now, but the formalization was still important as it pretty much meant that when it came to Ethereum, all tokens would be adhering to the same standard. This was paramount to the future adoption of Ethereum, as it meant it would be very easy to build on from a developer's perspective and very easy to use from a consumer's perspective. In September, it was another top smart contract-based blockchain's turn to take the spotlight, and it came in the form of the Cardano project. The network launched on September 27th, touting itself as an alternative to Ethereum. There was a reason to believe that Cardano may in fact have a chance at offering more than Ethereum could. And that's because the man behind Cardano, Charles Hoskinson, was a co-founder of Ethereum, and thus knew the network and its weaknesses at a level that most simply could not comprehend. By the time October hit, Bitcoin was soaring, reaching $5,000 and then moving up to $6,000 per coin before month's end. It was official. Bitcoin and everything else that was being dragged along with it was now in a raging bull market. Euphoria began to kick in as the currency just kept making new all-time highs. Speculation was rampant. Would Bitcoin hit $10,000 in this cycle? What about 50 or 100,000 US? Some were even suggesting that this was the beginning of a $1 million per coin Bitcoin ascension. Look, everyone has a dream, and for some Bitcoiners in 2017, this was theirs. November saw even more price increases, with Bitcoin breaching the $10,000 mark for the very first time. This was new territory, considering the psychological barrier of 5 figures now being utterly smashed. Doubters and even haters of Bitcoin were now forced to ask themselves the difficult and painful question of, did I get it wrong here? By December, the crypto world was on fire, one that seemed like it couldn't be put out even if the entire Atlantic Ocean was dumped onto it. Big news was coming out too, which just acted as an accelerant to the wild nature of the market. To fully appreciate what this was like, you really had to live through it. It's just an experience you simply will never, ever forget. To give you an idea of what an acid trip December 2017 was, here's a snippet. CryptoKitties, an NFT or non-fungible token project built on Ethereum, saw a flurry of trading activity that made its creators, Dapper Labs, an overnight success. The project drew so much attention that the Ethereum network couldn't handle it, sending gas fees to insane prices. It was very difficult and very, very expensive to get a transaction through on the Ethereum network during this time. What we were seeing here was an appetite beginning to form for NFTs now that Ethereum had a token standard to support them, which was the ERC 721. In the future, the next great bull market would be propelled by NFTs, but they would need several more years of development before they were ready to take center stage. Another sign of the detached from reality type of energy that was flowing around this time can be seen with the following. Farmingdale, a New York-based beverage company, decided they would capitalize on the hype when they announced they were changing their flagship product name from Long Island Iced Tea to simply Long Blockchain Corp. The stock immediately shot up 200%, validating that if you were even remotely close to anything to do with blockchain around this time, you could basically print money. This roller coaster ride hit its apex on December 19th, when the price of Bitcoin hit its high of $19,783, coming oh so close to the $20,000 US milestone. The closing to what was truly a surreal year saw the price settle back down a little bit into the $16,000 range. Everyone was on a high right now, given that if you had held Bitcoin during the brutal bear market, you were now flush with purchasing power, given the crazy gains experienced in such a short time. As the sun was finally setting on 2017, one thing was becoming clear to those that were paying close attention. Crypto was about to enter into a new epoch heading into 2018. One that would see new faces, technology, and events that would rise up to play dominant roles. NFTs, DeFi, stablecoins, smart contract-based blockchains, and the metaverse. All these innovations were now ready for prime time. But their journey to the upper echelon of crypto wasn't going to be easy. It wasn't going to be easy at all, with many of the challenges that they would face creating some of the most entertaining and notorious events in digital currency history. And that's what we're going to be looking at next episode. So if you want to know the scoop, then you better check out the story of crypto in 2018. I hope you enjoyed today's stroll down memory lane. Until next time, have fun and enjoy life, my friends. I'll be back soon with another incredible story to tell you.